Alright, let's get started with a little bit of game programming. What we're going to work on now is detecting mouse clicks and also figuring out what we clicked on, and then from there we'll be able to use the keyboard and also be able to tell when two objects run into each other on the screen. These are all three elements that are ultra useful for game programming. So there's a new method we need to mess with. It's the INIT, or the initialization method. It's part of every Java graphics game, and it's what happens before the game actually starts. Just like the word initialize might, you might think of the definition of that. So it happens before the run method or when anything else executes. It's just things we need in place before we get started. Here's the syntax. Just like public void run, it's public void INIT. You can put it in your program before the run method, not because that matters to the program, but just because that's where we would naturally look for it first. Something that's going to run first we would expect to be at the top of the program. And what it does, it executes, as it says down here, everything automatically before the run method begins. And it's just a standard Java thing. Here's an example of what it would look like. Don't code this one. Just say you want a target on the screen that maybe we're going to shoot at or something. You would put that on the screen, obviously, before we start trying to click on it. All right, one thing notice in this previous example, we have an object created out here. It's not in the initialization method, it's not in the run method, and it's just right inside the class itself. That's going to be very important, because when we start having several methods in here, they don't really share what's inside their curly braces. So if you create something inside a method's curly braces, it's what's called a local variable, and it only exists in that small area. Just like I can't hear the thoughts that are in your head. But out here, if you say it out loud, not only can I hear it, but everybody else in the classroom can hear it and use that. So when we put it up here, it's not a local variable, it's what's called a global variable. So as it says, it can be used by the initialization method, the run method, or any other one that we decide to create. Okay, mouse input, we've seen that already. There's a system method called waitForClick. We can do better than that. In fact, it's not just if the mouse was clicked, but also where and what was clicked on. So we need to tell the computer to pay a little more attention to the mouse. And there are three components. We're going to need a new Java import statement. Notice that we already have import java.auth.star. Leave that one there, and then add this one, because we're going to now have to start responding to an event. And the event is the mouse press. But in order to tell whether or not an event is taking place, we have to add this, add mouse listeners, to the INIT method. That sort of like cleans out the ears and tell us to start listening. It's like 5 minutes into class when I say, okay, let's start class. Ideally, you start paying attention. So we're listening for an event, and when that happens, we have a mouse event down here. You can code this method exactly as it is. The E in this event stands for event. So we have a mouse event named E. We could do things with that. We probably won't right away. But you need that there. Instead, the most important part is just for us. Public void mouse pressed. This is a system method that comes in this event package. And then when the mouse button is pressed, in this case any of the mouse buttons, we can have code that's in here execute. Here's an example program. Go ahead and code that. As you code this program, note we have our 4 import statements. If you wanted to use color, also you need a 5th. Import java.auth.star. It's a graphics program. We have our initialization method with our add mouse listeners. And then this one has a mouse click method. Note there's no run method on this. That's simply because we don't have anything that sort of is taking place outside of the mouse clicks. So there's no other part of the program. All this one is going to do is just say, you click the mouse in the console when it happens. All right, we can take it even a step further by using these two system methods. Get x, which is going to get us the x coordinate, and the y, get y, which is going to get us the y coordinate. Once again, x is going across, y is going down. They start up here in top left at 0, 0, and go positive this direction, and and y goes positive this direction. So it can tell you exactly where your mouse click occurred. And that's obviously going to be useful in gaming. So add this code to your program. You're going to have to create a red ball. Ensure that it's global. So you want to put that right after the class declaration. And then you also want to add a new method. When the user clicks on the ball, use the remove, and then you'd remove whatever the name of your ball is, in this case probably red ball, to get it off the screen. So what this code is going to do, it's the mouse press method. The first thing it's going to do when you've clicked your mouse, your object, we're going to use object.method, so e.getX, we'll get the x location, store it here. We'll get the y location, store it here. Now this is something brand new, but if there's an actual object we're trying to click, such as a grect, a glabel, any sort of thing like that. Remember a few classes ago I showed you a slide. They all inherit something. When we extend things, use that extends keyword, they're all part of the G objects. They all sort of come down from that. They're all inherit some of their characteristics from that. So we can go up the food chain and use the G object in order to find something common to all the objects on our screen. So it doesn't matter if we're trying to click on a rectangle, a circle, something like that. We can add this line, G object, and then create a sort of a variable name. You can call that anything you want there, equals get element at xy. So it's going to return what we have. It's going to tell us what element, what object is at the xy location that we clicked. Now down here under the else part, if we click on nothing, it's going to be null. Null meaning there's an empty value, nothing. So if we click and don't click on any objects, it's set off to null. And then if not, if the object is equal to our red ball, we're going to, you can delete this little part here, clicks on ball plus plus, unless you wanted to say how many times you clicked on it. But in this case, you're going to replace this line with your remove method. So you can click on the red ball, you should be able to remove it. And then if you want, you can add a whole bunch of balls to the screen and set up sort of the basis of a game. That's all for today.